Nice, welcome everybody. Feel free to enter in the chat where you're joining us from and what brand you're working at. It'd be really interesting to hear. But while everyone's kind of whittling on in, I'll start by introducing the topic today. So welcome everybody to today's Performance Plus webinar. We're focusing today on App Store optimization strategies to drive organic growth, specifically during Ramadan as well. This is an informal education session. We're aiming to provide insight from the experts that we have here today, and we'd love for you to ask any questions that you have using the Q&A feature, and we'll answer those at the end. This session will be recorded and we will share it with you after the event, but it will also be available on our website at mcsaatchiperformance.com. You're all on mute, so don't worry if you're speaking or if there's any background noise. Nobody can hear you, so it's all okay there. And we are going to run polls throughout, and we would love if people can participate if you're able to. There's a couple throughout, so please engage with that. And what's really exciting as well is we're offering an ASO audit for those that have registered. So please contact us after the event. We are going to send you a recording so you can respond to that, or you can email us at marketing@mcsaatchiperformance.com, and we're more than happy to do a mini audit of your app and give you some pointers if you need any guidance as well. But just first, a little bit about MC Saatchi Performance. We are a leading global performance marketing agency, and we started back in 2006, where we initially focused on mobile, but we've since expanded and we help drive brands that thrive in the digital landscape. And we have a heritage in growing brands in this way, and we can tailor our services depending on what each client needs. And one of those services is ASO. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're really going to dig into the importance of an ASO strategy, especially for the Indonesian market as well. And we're going to touch upon creative best practices for ASO. So that's going to include how to optimize your screenshots and app icon to drive conversions, including culturally relevant visual insights as well, and Ramadan specific design tips. So that's going to be really interesting. But we're also going to look at how to craft resonant copy and things like custom store listings, which are relatively new as well, and looking at the role of culturally aligned messaging and your strategic CSL designs to enhance your app discoverability and engagement as well. And we're really going to be tapping into the Indonesian marketing opportunities during Ramadan as well. And all of this will come with some actionable insights and quick wins that hopefully you can then implement into your own strategies. So starting with intros, I'm Lauren. I'm the moderator on today's panel. I work at MC Saatchi Performance as the global head of ASO, and I've worked here for over 7 years, helping our clients globally do ASO strategies. And I'm really, really delighted to welcome our speakers today, who have a wealth of experience across ASO and design. So I'll hand over to you, Bian, first, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Lauren. So hi, everyone. My name is Bian. I'm an experienced digital marketing practitioner. I've been working across sectors from dating app, fintech, F&B, telco, and gaming for about 6 years. But I think like almost 5 years ago, I started to handle clients across Southeast Asia. So I'm quite familiar with the seasonality that we have within the market, especially in Indonesia. So yeah, I'm excited today to share a lot of Ramadan insights with you, along with how we can capitalize the features of ASO to basically benefit your app performance.
Great, thank you. Alita, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Alita, and I'm the Global Head of Creative at MC Saatchi Performance. I've been in the creative industry for about 10 years now, with a background in mainline advertising, digital, social media, and of course, performance marketing. We work pretty closely with our media and ASO team to deliver some really interesting, fun-looking campaigns for our clients globally. So very excited to be here, and hopefully we can all take back some insights to implement into our seasonal ASO strategies. Thank you.
Yeah, great, thanks. And Darwin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Lauren. Hi, everyone. I'm Darwin Nursamsur. People call me Darwin. I've been in digital industry for over 7 years. Currently, I work at JULO, a fintech company in Indonesia, as a senior digital marketing manager, where I focus on marketing app store optimization, or ASO. Excited to share insight and discuss ASO strategies with you all today.
Nice. Thanks, Darwin. And yeah, nice to meet everyone on the intros. We're going to start with our first poll today. I'd love if you could engage with it. What we're trying to find out is who in the audience are currently implementing any ASO strategies. So that could be as small as something like an A/B test, a keyword optimization, even updating your screenshots for Ramadan historically. It'd be great to hear from everyone. And yeah, please answer, and we'll be sharing and discussing the results shortly. I guess as well, this also applies whether you're doing this across Google or iOS, and whether you've considered this historically as well. So please answer in the poll. Perfect. We can see a few coming in now. Be really interesting to see. We've got a good split with some planning. Let's see if we have any more votes. Perfect. Okay, if we close the poll, then we can see the results shortly. But what we have is a really even split, where mostly either ASO has been conducted or it's planned for some other time. So it's great to see that the audience are actually already engaged and aware of why ASO is important, and hopefully we can shed some more light on that today as well. Oops, sorry, bear with me 1 second. Oh, thank you. So we've had some really interesting insights there. I think what's really interesting is that you guys are already fully aware of why we need to be carrying out ASO, so that's really interesting. Bian, I'd really love to hear from you what you would say about why you think ASO is important for all advertisers, particularly those that may have answered that they're not doing ASO yet but are considering it.
Sure, thanks, Lauren. So in an ever-changing market like Indonesia, we know there are other ever-changing markets as well, but in Indonesia specifically, there are loads of events happening throughout the year. Even it could be different from year on year. And because of this, it's very important to understand every marketing aspect that you can capitalize for your brand. And as we know, one of the biggest seasons in Indonesia is Ramadan, and we know how user behavior shifts during this time. And I'm gonna share what we found on that basically. So majority of audience is most active during the 3 most important timings. So as we know, Sahur, Iftar, and night. And there's even a surge of 230% in mobile activity during a time where people are usually asleep. And as seen on the right, because these people are now having like a higher purchasing power, they're not just looking to spend their money, but they're also looking on the best ways to spend their money. So they're looking for deals, for discounts, etc. And it's during Ramadan, we know that it happens more than ever. And not just that, but basically these audiences, they also plan out these purchases throughout Ramadan. So as we see on the screen here, like a lot of the users are planning 2 weeks before the purchase to basically start researching. And then 10 days into Ramadan, usually, especially in Malaysia, customers already make the purchase decision. So it's really important for us to grasp the attention even before Ramadan starts. And even 1 or 2 weeks before Eid, majority of Indonesian customers are already emptying their carts. So it means that they are researching a lot into what kind of product they want to buy, what kind of deals can they buy. And we also have here the app categories that surges during Ramadan. And it's important to note that gaming and entertainment, as we all know, like year on year needs to be on the lead, but commerce and is also picking up. So we have here Shopee, Instagram. I consider that as commerce because sometimes as a woman, I also use Instagram to kind of, look at the products that I want to buy. We have Dana and Gopi here, who's also increasing during last year's Ramadan, and this happening throughout the year as well. So it's really important for advertisers to kind of make sure that we're not just present in the audience lives, but also we want to ensure that we know the ways to capitalize on the season.
Nice. Thank you, Bian. Darwin, what's your perspective coming from a brand as to why you think it is important for Indonesian advertisers?
First of all, whether it's Ramadan or not, ASO directly impact how the app can be discovered. Its answer that apps are not only visible but also easy to find, download, and use. I think for Indonesian advertiser, ASO even more crucial due to three things. First, because the country mobile first natures. Second, because the cost effectiveness of organic users acquisition, and of course because it's free. And third, the highly competitive app market during Ramadan season. And again, by optimizing ASO, we can maximize visibility, increase organic downloads, and build a sustainable long-term users acquisition strategy. And I can say ASO is a long-term investment, Lauren.
Yeah, no, that makes 100% sense. And that's really interesting how you touch upon Indonesia as a mobile first market. And it makes sense why ASO is important. But Darwin, why do you think it's such an effective channel for growing organic growth?
As we all know, during Ramadan, competition for paid ads increased significantly, driving up CPC and overall costs. So that's why boosting organic channels becomes very essential. And I think ASO is the key to driving organic growth during this season. And here's why ASO is so effective from my experience at JULO. First, because ASO play a crucial role in the final phase of the app discovery process, like influencing whether the users decided to install or move on. And second, by optimizing relevant keywords and creative assets such as app icons, screenshot, and videos. Also, we can ensure the ASO that our app can reach users who are actively searching for similar apps. Plus, with the custom store listing, or we call CSL features in Play Store, advertiser can tailor visual and also messaging for different target segment, improving relevance and promo effectiveness. And of course, the last one is since ASO drives organic growth, it helps saves extra budget that would otherwise be spent on the paid ads and making it a highly cost-effective, efficient strategy. So in short, as it's not just an option, I think it's a necessity for sustainable and cost-effective app growth.
Nice. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think particularly in the current climate, a lot of clients that we speak to, they're really focused on that cost effectiveness. Bian, do you have any experiences of how ASO has been efficient channel for any of your clients?
Definitely. And I think it's really interesting how Darwin mentioned about cost effectiveness earlier. So I have here some examples on how our ASO efforts have helped advertisers to save considerable amount of marketing spends. And this actually happened to a couple of our clients. So in the first example here, you will see that combining iOS and ASA efforts could basically reduce cost per install by 21% after 12 months. Whereas on the second example here, we have how our ASO efforts on both iOS and are purely organic, reduce the cost per install by 53% after 7 months. So it's really beneficial. And I like how, previously Darwin also mentioned about how it could be not just beneficial from a marketing spends, but also from other sectors as well, which we will be talking in the next points.
Thank you. Alita, what is your take on this from a creative perspective, and why do you think it's so effective?
I think ASO is a great channel because it's such a great place to showcase your app and make it super visible. Your visuals, especially like your icons and your screenshots, practically act as a billboard for your app, and you can really talk about your brand's value and functions and really showcase your app and make that first impression that you need. Especially tailoring your assets for cultural moments or seasonal campaigns can bring in that relatability and the timeliness of your app. And through your creatives, you can tell a story, so it can go beyond just app functionality, but also help create this emotional appeal for your users. So yeah, I think it's a great platform to test your ad creatives on.
Thanks, Alita. I guess we've spoken a lot about kind of the effectiveness and why people should be doing it. But are there any trends, Bian, that you're seeing in the Indonesian market specifically for ASO?
Yeah, and it's interesting how you mentioned Indonesia specifically, because this is something that I've observed throughout the years. We all know as advertisers, obviously, that Android takes up, majority of the overall Indonesian market share. Here, it took up to 87%, whereas Apple takes up around 12%. So Apple has always been, something that advertisers might overlook. But while Android remains to be in the lead, the number of Apple users keeps on increasing year on year. And with new features coming on Google Play App Store, it's essential that we dive deeper into which kind of feature that we can capitalize for both of the OS.
Yeah, no, that's really, really interesting, particularly as it's such a mobile first audience, as Darwin mentioned. It's interesting seeing how the trends are evolving as well. Perfect. So before we move on to the seasonal strategies specifically, we are going to open up another poll. We really want to understand whether anyone who has implemented any ASO strategies, whether you've done any seasonal strategies specifically, and it doesn't have to be Ramadan, it could be seasonal to your particular category, it could be a particular sale that's very important to you, but it'd be really interesting to hear this kind of view from you guys. And yeah, if you do answer yes, I'd love to hear how you're doing that. Please feel free to write in the chat any strategies that you've been doing. I think it's really interesting to hear from other perspectives and other brands as to what they've been doing. I think there's a lot of new kind of seasonal strategies that we can leverage as well, new features, which I know like the team will be talking about as well. So please vote if you can. It'd be great to hear from you guys. I'll give everyone a couple more moments to answer. Perfect. If we end that there and then look at the results and see what the split looks like. Great. So good to see some yeses there as well. Nice that people are already doing it. Hopefully there are some takeaways that you can take away from today as well that might help leverage your strategy in the future. And hopefully that no, we can convince you otherwise. But yeah, really, really interesting there. So I guess as well, we've heard from the audience as to who's implemented everything. I guess, Alita, what is your take on how we can use ASO to help drive growth during seasonal periods such as Ramadan, to help the people that answered no to maybe consider using ASO in future?
Right. So I think tailoring your creatives to the needs of the season, both your visuals and your messaging, including like trying to make it more relatable to your audience. So in context of Ramadan, using localized keywords and within your copy as well as your descriptions to make your app more discoverable and really showcase how your app supports the audience, especially during that period, can help kind of boost visibility and drive that stronger emotional connection we spoke about. And also like leveraging certain themes like togetherness or spirituality, especially in a Ramadan context. So using storytelling to really turn the functional app features into these interesting narratives can really help kind of boost performance of your creatives, especially during seasonal campaigns.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Darwin, what's your perspective on the brand side? Have you implemented any strategies during seasonal periods at JULO?
Well, talking about the brand side, during Ramadan, JULO always launch a short seasonal campaigns video to ride the wave and meet the evolving needs of our users. This season is typically marked by increased spending, like Bian mentioned before and showed the data, especially for on new clothes, hampers, and sending money to the family. And to align with this, we offer a special promotion to encourage more in-app transaction. So we do App Store optimization to communicate this seasonal campaign to users because ASO plays a crucial role in driving growth by ensuring that the JULO app remain visible and relevant to users who are actively searching for specific financial solution during this time. And this is what we typically do for ASO during Ramadan. First, basically, we update our keyword to align with Ramadan-related searches, like ensuring our app appears in relevant queries. This also supported by app icon, app store visual tailored to match our brand campaign message for Ramadan. And second, we highlighting Ramadan specific features. For example, in JULO, we promote our cash loan features as users often need extra funds for seasonal expenses. We make sure this message is reflected on our app screenshot and long description to drive engagement. And last, of course, we're using CSL. We can create targeted keyword strategies and tailor visual to attract the right users who are actively seeking financial solution during Ramadans. And this allows us to optimize our visibility and tap into high intent traffic effectively. So by implementing these ASO strategies, we ensure that JULO remains competitive and relevant during Ramadan, Lauren.
Nice, that's really, really interesting. Thank you. Bian, do you have any examples of any seasonal campaigns that you've worked on across ASO?
Yes, that we've done with Darwin before. So I'm going to share with you an example of JULO where we tested the thematic app icon versus the original icon in light of the upcoming season. So here we have the original icon, which is just showing the logo J, and then on the right with some of the creative aspects related to Ramadan. And what we found is that the Ramadan icons retained installers 23% higher than the original icon, meaning that the users basically responding more towards a seasonality or the thematic app icon as opposed to the original icon.
Yeah, those results are really, really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. I guess, Darwin, how can advertisers maybe apply some of these learnings from that app icon test and also what we've spoken about already to ensure they're really capitalizing on creative best practices to optimize their apps?
I think advertisers need to ensure their app present in the App Store, both in metadata and visual, aligned with the key message that they want to communicate to users. And here's how I did in JULO. So first, update a visual in advance. So we always make sure that to refresh the app icon, video, and screenshot for Ramadan campaign at least 2 or 3 days before Ramadan, since update next time to appear on the Play Store. And second, align creative with keyword optimization, like optimizing seasonal keyword is very important, but it's equally crucial to ensure that your visual reinforce those keywords. This helps users instantly understand the key selling points of our apps. And last, step into Ramadan momentum, like Bian just showed us about JULO app icon, like incorporate Ramadan specific icon, themes, and messaging in our creative to reflect the seasonal mood and resonate with users' needs. So this enhance engagement and conversion rates. So this is the best practice that I did so far in JULO to maximize the organic growth during seasonal periods like Ramadan, Lauren.
Thank you. Bian, what about any more non-traditional elements of the App Store? Because we've spoken a lot about things like the icon, the screenshots. Are there anything else that people should be considering here?
Sure. I think Darwin's point about mentioning about copies is quite interesting because we also can have copies to go along with ASO. And when it comes to copywriting, considering search volume, relevancy, your app's current rank, and your competitor's current rank is all really important for you to generate the best title, short description, long description, or even keyword list. So it's a really great way to kind of capture the most relevant keywords for you and identifying which keywords would have the highest potential for you so that your app would gain higher visibility, especially during a really competitive season such as Ramadan.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Alita, I'd love to hear from you what strategies you implement when clients come to you with a brief and making sure that they are following creative best practices for their storefront.
Right. I think our approach for creatives is maybe focusing on majorly 3 key areas. It's one, clarity, relevance, and testing. So clarity is basically having your visuals super clean and communicating your app's core benefits from the get-go. Secondly, keeping it super relevant, especially for seasonal campaigns. So relevant in terms of context, culture, market, and your audience. Like we saw an example of the icon design where you incorporate festive elements, you use localized language, and clearly showcase your app features through videos or your screenshots to show them how it really helps them within that season or within that specific campaign duration. And lastly, testing your assets. So optimizing your assets based on your color palettes, the copy that you use, your taglines, and really refining them on your user behavior. So I think like these 3 key areas can really help optimize your creatives, especially for seasonal campaigns.
Nice, thank you. I guess there's also the element of A/B testing. Bian, what's your perspective on A/B testing? Is it something that everyone should be doing? What's your view?
Yeah, definitely. I think A/B testing is something that we cannot ignore in any part of marketing that we are, right? Whenever we're presented with the opportunity of A/B testing, obviously take it because we can never know what the market will respond to. In both the App Store and Google Play, you can test some of the aspects here that I have on the screen. So on Google Play, you can test the app icon, screenshot, video, feature graphic, short and long description. Whereas on App Store Connect, you can also test out app previews, those screenshots. And these aspects, you can test up to 3 variants. So one tip for me is to always treat A/B testing on App Store and Google Play because the user behavior might trigger like different response on the results as well. In light of the upcoming big seasonality such as Ramadan, testing your creatives on the storefront in any aspect that I have listed here is always recommended, as results may vary as well depending on market conditions, seasonality, behavior, and also other factors, right? So testing prior to the big event will always lead to finding what your audience favors, which eventually will also result in benefits for either your conversion rate or your app visibility.
Thank you. Alita, you spoke a little bit about best practices generally for creative, but do you have any insight onto best practices for how advertisers can align their seasonal creative specifically?
Right. I think from the whole range of best practices, there are a few top line ones that we can keep in mind and really easy wins. So obviously incorporating your seasonal elements, it could be colors or themes or just symbols that showcase the value of the season that you're creating designs for. Showcasing your app features that are especially relevant during that season. Localizing your messaging both in terms of context as well as language. And I think maintaining brand consistency is really important. So maintaining your brand's tone of voice and design language while still adapting to the particular season to maintain that and boost that brand recognition. A/B testing, as Bian mentioned, A/B testing different themes, your copy and your designs and different elements. And lastly, making use and leveraging all the different available creative formats within ASO, from icons, screenshots, CPPs, feature graphics, or videos to really tell your story and get that across to your audiences.
Nice, thank you. Darwin, how have you approached seasonal testing and updates for maximum impact, other than the app icon that Bian shared earlier?
So since ASO creatives such as screenshot, featured graphics, videos are essential for maximizing visibility, relevance, and conversion rate during key seasonal periods, here are the best practices we follow to ensure maximum impact. Lauren, first, we ensure the seasonal updates still align with the overall brand identity to maintain recognition and trust. And yeah, of course, we also update the screenshot and reflect seasonal features like promos and highlight any seasonal features, discount, or special offering in App Store visual to attract high-intent users. And we use features graphic with seasonal appeal, like I mentioned before. And also we create engaging app review videos aligned with video content with the ongoing brand campaign, showcasing how the app meets our users' needs during the season. And another thing that's very important is incorporate timely call time to action, or CTA. Use action-driven messaging that resonate with seasonal behavior, such as in Indonesia, like get your Ramadan promo now, or plan your holiday budget with easy. And of course, as Bian mentioned, do A/B testing. Don't just update once, monitor performance, A/B test different creatives, and optimize throughout the season to maximize the impact. That's all.
Nice. Thank you, Darwin. Bian, are there any untapped opportunities that advertisers can utilize for seasonal or general ASO that maybe often gets overlooked?
Yeah. So I have here another thing that I would mention, which is basically custom store listing. It is different from your main store listing. So I have here an example from JULO. So you have on your left is the original store listing, and then on the center is phone credit store listing, and on the right is pay later store listing. As you can see here, the title are different between each store listings. The screenshots are also different, as well as the short and also long description. So it's just something that I think would really benefit a campaign, especially a thematic campaign. And since it is a custom store listing, there are a lot of aspects that you can customize that I can share right here. So app title, short and long description, screenshot, video, app icons, even the duration of the store listing itself, you can customize. And components in CSLs can also be tested. So this is really interesting because testings usually happen just in the main store listing, but you can also test out your custom store listing, which is just, really beneficial for us, especially if we don't know what the market basically favors. And in CSLs, you can also target specific audience. So you can basically create a CSL targeting country, region, or state level. You can also generate a URL from this, CSL. So you can basically use it, let's say, if you have a campaign, an organic campaign on some other channels. And you can also target specific search keywords. So for example, you have a specific feature during Ramadan that's launching, and you want people to typed in like a certain keyword to basically land on that custom store listing. That is also possible. And you can also link this directly to Google Ads campaign. And I think this is a really clever way to kind of highlight your feature on the storefronts. So if you have, like upcoming releases or upcoming big seasons or upcoming big campaigns, you can definitely highlight the specific campaigns and also promotions in your custom store listing, which I think will really benefit the audience.
Thanks, Bian. That's really, really interesting. We're going to be wrapping it up. Please continue to leave questions in the Q&A box. We're going to be getting to those in a minute. But before we get to those, I want to thank our wonderful speakers, Darwin, Bian, and Alita. Thank you so much for sharing your tips and tricks, which I'm sure a lot of advertisers will be able to start testing ahead of Ramadan. Darwin, can you share any key takeaways and tips that other advertisers should consider for building an ASO action plan, just to summarize everything that you've spoken about today?
Sure, Lauren. So building an effective ASO action plan requires a systematic approach to enhance our visibility, appeal, and conversion potential in the app stores. I always focus on two key areas. First is non-technical, and second is technical optimization. First, for non-technical optimization, I always try to understand our target market and audience. So by understanding this, we can do research for our users' behavior, search trends, and competitor strategies to optimize keyword for maximum visibility. And second, we craft a compelling app title description, like ensure our title, short description, and long description are very clear, keyword rich, and also engaging. And last, optimize visual icon screenshot videos to be more appealing and also align with the brand guidelines, while also resonating with our target audience. And for technical optimization, these three aspects will impact the ranking and the visibility on the app. So first, we have to make sure that reviews and rating is actively managed and respond to reviews. So like we have a team to manage this and respond to every rating and reviews. And second, we monitor the app performance like crash and ANR, like address app crashes and ANR, because this technical issue will impact the ranking and visibility. And last, mention the paid conversion. Why this is very important? Because paid conversion on Play Store also impact the ranking and visibility. So please make sure the paid conversion is better from time to time. So by combining this, like market insight, creative optimization, and technical enhancement, can build a sustainable ASO strategy that drives long-term growth. Lauren.
Thank you, Darwin. That's great. Alita, what do you think are some of the most important creative strategies that brands should take away from today?
I think if I had to highlight three main points to keep top of mind when approaching your creatives, especially for seasonal campaigns, it would be optimize your visuals. So use really engaging graphics and seasonal designs to stand out and make a stronger impact. Focus on localization, so from your creatives, designs, descriptions, or messaging to make it more relevant to the culture and the traditions of your audience, to help like foster that stronger connection with your audience as well as help increase your conversion rates. And lastly, I would say align your creatives across all channels. So ensuring consistency of your ASO creatives across your other marketing channels like social media or performance ads to help build that cohesive user experience and help boost brand recall.
Nice. Thank you, Lita. And Bian, how do you think brands should be building ASO into their seasonal strategies?
Yeah. I mean, I have prepared a 360 digital campaign before, and I know how stressful it can be. And it will be really helpful to also know what kind of features, that you can basically capitalize on. And now that we have learned that there are A/B testing and custom store listing features, preparing ahead of upcoming seasons to test out app icons or screenshot designs or researching promising keywords will benefit your app performance. And you can definitely tie up your storefront with your Ramadan campaigns as well. So first up is, getting to know your audience preference in a seasonal period. So you can basically look into the data from last year or last 2 years and kind of identify, the market trends right there. Familiarizing yourself with ASO experimental features will really be helpful as well. And as Alita mentioned before, like aligning brand messages with ASO aspects is really important. And lastly, and I cannot stress this enough, is always experiment on your hypothesis, because you can never know, sometimes the market can surprise you.
Thanks, Bian. Very, very interesting. So that concludes all of the content for today. Whilst we have our panel of experts, though, please continue to share any questions that you have in the Q&A box. We have had a couple come through, so we can answer those now, but please keep sharing in the chat and the Q&A box. We'll continue to answer those. I'll stop sharing so you can see our lovely panelists more clearly. But I have a first question for you. I think, Bian, this might be suitable for you. How long, obviously we spoke a lot about seasonal, so I feel like this is really relevant, but this person's asked, how long before a seasonal holiday do I need to consider updating my metadata or visuals?
So by the end of the day, I think it kind of aligns with your brand timeline as well. So obviously, when preparing for Ramadan, you don't just prepare, a month beforehand. You're going to prepare like months beforehand. So kind of tuning in with that. But when it comes to like ASO specific preparations, like the communication you want to display in ASO or the creative assets you want to have on your ASO, and also the testing timeline itself, I would say take about a month. So when you were preparing your overall 360 campaign, for example, also think about how you can seed an ASO to that. So you can perhaps, begin capitalizing on, let's say, CSLs, and also you want to test out, let's say, your app icon or something like that. But the actual work on ASO, I would say 1 month is probably enough.
Ooh, thank you. I guess the next question I'm going to direct to you, Darwin. You mentioned previously a little bit about copy and updating things like title and description. So this person has asked, is strong creative as important as title/description and other text for ASO ranking? Do you have a view on that?
Yes, definitely, Lauren, because screenshot or creative also represent the keyword that we optimize together with the title, short description, and long description. It's supposed to be relevant each other. So make sure if you want to optimize one keyword, and you have to make sure that the creative also represent the keyword that you mentioned. Like strategically, you mentioned multiple times on the screenshot, not only one times, but also maybe multiple times with a different kind of the keyword. And you can also find another long tail keyword we say in Indonesia, like such as for example, in Indonesia, we're talking about mudik, like get back to the home country or village. So we have to mention about these multiple times on the keyword, short description, long description, title, and also the creative as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. We have another question here. The question is, creative-wise, what are the main differences between Apple's App Store and Google's Play Store that ASO and creative teams should consider? Alita, I feel like you might be able to shed some light on this. I feel like you've done a lot of creative for iOS and Google. Can you kind of elaborate on this a little bit about the main differences?
Right. So I think it really boils down to certain specifications that you need to keep in mind, like things like dimensions. But what we have seen is that Apple tends to be a little more picky than Google Play, especially with the kind of creatives you have and what you can show within it. So always better to go with really simple yet stunning visuals, not too much copy, and not showcasing too many devices on your creatives, especially for Apple. Other things would be, I think, the number of screenshots on App Store, you can have up to 10. On Play Store, you can have up to like 8. And orientation wise with Apple, it's mostly portrait orientation, whereas in Play Store, you can have both portrait as well as landscape. Another interesting one with feature videos between like App Store and Play Store. With App Store, you have an autoplay feature video that plays as a preview, whereas with Play Store, it's a YouTube link, no autoplay, which is where your feature graphic really comes into play to highlight what your app is about and make it stand out. So there are a lot of specifications, but I think really interesting to remember how to approach your designs. You can adapt it between App Store and Play Store, but going into the details of what kind of devices to showcase or what kind of designs or graphics to show is really important between both stores, really.
Great, thank you for elaborating on that. I think we have time for one more question. We've had one come through around how do we optimize our ASO to complement our UA team strategy? Bian, I feel given your background, this might be one for you that you could answer.
Yeah, I guess for those who doesn't know, like I also work in paid media before I joined ASO. So this is kind of like a crossover. And learning from a lot of experience when I was in charge of like UA campaigns, it's really beneficial to have an end-to-end journey that is not disturbed at all, be it from a technical standpoint or like drop rates, bounce rates, etc. But also it's important to keep a cohesive, communication between your ads, your storefront, etc. So it's really important to, have a seamless flow between that. And one thing that we can do with this is basically to introduce CSL on your UA campaigns. So as I mentioned before, you can generate a URL or you can basically link it directly to your Google Ads campaign. And that's really helpful because when it comes to, your Google campaigns or your UA campaigns, I'm sure that there are lots of communications that you want to go across as well. So aligning what you're saying on your storefront and also what you're saying on your ads would kind of help in terms of conversion rate.
Cool. Thank you. I'm gonna just ask one more question that we've had come through. So this person has asked, considering the significant role of the app title in its performance, should we also change the app title, maybe by incorporating terms related to Ramadan? Darwin, I don't know if you want to take this on, give and elaborate on your last answer around how you might have done it at JULO.
Basically we always finding the specific keyword related to the Ramadan and also match to our features. As a fintech, of course, we have features like cash and also non-cash. So we always make sure these cash features related to the needs of our customers for the Ramadan season, especially for, as I mentioned before, for the mudik keyword or for hampers or for something related to the Ramadan needs. Of course, we utilize this keyword, and thanks to the CSL, because CSL can utilize a different multiple keywords. So we use this to target it specific keyword with different needs. So yes, we did it.
Perfect. Thanks, Darwin. I think that's everything that we have time for. Thanks so much again for our amazing panelists. It's really highlighted the importance and impact that seasonality has on ASO. And it's great to see how you're leveraging this at JULO, Darwin. I've really enjoyed this discussion and everyone's questions today. Feel free, if you do have any follow-up questions, do please reach out over email or LinkedIn. We're more than happy to help answer any questions. We do have a very short survey, which is going to pop up shortly. It's just asking for everyone's feedback on their experience today. If you have any actionable feedback, that would be great. We love to hear anything that you have to say. So it'd be great if you could take 20 minutes or 20 seconds out of your day just to fill that in. I do hope everyone has a great evening. As a reminder, everyone will be sent the recording of this, and do please feel free to reach out if you'd like to receive your free audit. We'd love to speak to you and hear about how we could help you do ASO at your company. Thanks everyone for your time, and yeah, see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.